17, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds the sum of $10,000 for the collection and disposal of Christmas trees for the residents of Abington for FY 2012, or take any other action relative thereto. Mike, do you use Christmas trees?
I just ask a question on that. Actually, I agree with John, and only I go back to Kingston. We used to have everybody drop them off at the highway department, which was behind my office, and they would chip it. Every once in a while they'd chip it, and geez, you could smell the pine, and it was very nice. So I think that they should. I really think
So you want them to go up behind you?
Pines.
No. I think that there is no reason in my mind why we can't provide a drop-off spot at the highway department that they can, every once in a while, chip it away, and we can, we don't need to.
I wholeheartedly agree with it. I mean, $10,000, how many houses are there in the town of Abington?
4,500.
6,500.
6,500?
Trees are a fire.
Yeah, that's what we use to start the fires in the backyard. And I know, Chief, I'm sorry. Just, that was a slip. But,
They burn, right?
you know, years ago, I believe we had a yard waste collection. And I don't know what that cost, but I know the residents thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I would rather see, and I don't know how much it costs either, but I'd rather see the $10,000 seems to be a pretty steep price. And, you know, you drive up and get your Christmas tree, tie it on the roof, and, you know, by the time you're done with it, you could drive up and get it, and all the bristles would blow off in the street, and it'd be great. But I would rather see them do a town-wide pickup or something like that, it's more beneficial.
Why should we pick up the Christmas trees if people
No, I mean,
get
if they were
them
going to spend any
house?
money at all.
You know,
I like
get them up
chip
to
them.
the
I like
recycle.
Kevin's idea of just having the designated
The
drop-off.
only issue is whether or not the town is going to provide a meaningful disposal process for residents. If we tell them to drop it off at the recycle center, and we get a chipper, because they have money in the account.
Does the highway have a chipper?
No, we need one of those big brush hog things, that you gotta go down and see it. You get too close, you get
Twice.
sucked in, and they chop you up too. But this is a big device, and they do it, we rent it, it's $325 an hour, maybe, to rent this thing. Oh yeah, they're huge.
Or you could just
And
light a match, just have a fire detail, and we could
And they take care
we
of
could
it.
save them all till the
It
fall and have a
becomes
big
wood chips,
bonfire
it
before the
smells
football
nice,
game.
and we'll send every resident a gift from the town of Abington. It would be one of their own little balsam
Yeah.
fur packs. They can stick it in their drawer.
Okay.
But the question is whether or not this goes on the warrant,
I move we take it off.
even though it's by,
I'll second.
submitted by,
No, it's getting late, I'm getting,
All right?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All-
you want to take it off?
Yeah, there's a motion to take it off by Selectman Donovan and a second by Mr. Franny. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye, it's off.
What
Okay.
about opposed?
Any opposed?
I am opposed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
One opposition, Kenny Coyle, former Board of Health member.
Can we have reorganization at the next agenda, please?
And Kenny's got a fake tree.
I do.
You want a white
I
one?
do too.
Okay, Article 18, to see if the town will vote to, A, adopt a tax increment financing plan and agreement between Cape Cod Lumber Incorporated and CCL, Cape Cod Lumber Abington Realty Trust, and the town of Abington for the property located at 223, 225, and 275 Groveland Street, shown on Assessors Map 14, Lot 20, Lot 21, and Lot 22, within the 223 Groveland Street Economic Opportunity Area. Which TIF plan and agreement provide for real estate tax exemptions over a 10-year period at the exemption rate schedule set forth therein, substantially in the form on file with the Board of Selectmen and the Town Clerk. Subject to approval by the Economic Assistance Coordinating Council of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts pursuant to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40, Section 59, and 760,
CMR 22.
CMR 22.
You don't have to read the rest of it.
Okay, that's good. The
I
TIF.
move we put it on the warrant.
Mr. Chairman, I want to recuse myself from this one, please.
Okay, that's it.
Why is that?
All right,
Okay.
all right.
I move we put it on the warrant.
Okay, second?
Second?
Second by Mr. Burbine. Any discussion?
Yeah. John? Have you met with your group and?
We
come up-
had our first meeting. Our next meeting is scheduled for...
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. And we're going to have a presentation from the Cape Cod Lumber Group. These numbers could change, may come
Yeah.
off, may stay on. It's going to depend upon the committee and their recommendation, what they feel comfortable with, and what we can agree on in relationship to an overall percentage TIF.
Yeah.
Right now, Cape Cod Lumber is requesting a 69% TIF in total. We may recommend, the committee may negotiate something far less than that. And the company has to agree to it. We go through this negotiation process, and hopefully at the end of this process, we come to some sort of an agreement. If we can do it now, fine. If the company can wait till the spring, we may want to wait till the spring. So it may or may not be on, and the final numbers are something that we need to negotiate.
Yeah.
But we have met, we have a second meeting tomorrow.
Okay, in light of that, which is fine, and I don't mind, I guess, when would you, okay, we set the warrant, when would you be posting it? I know we got to do
Yeah,
it 14 days
We're not
prior.
going to post it until October.
When is it going to be mailed out, or?
No, it has to be posted by the
Right.
constable, 14 days prior.
14 days prior, yeah.
So you would,
So
I
that-
guess, I don't want to confound things, but, you know, my motion was to include it on, but I'm thinking, if you don't come to an agreement, just whip it off.
That's
Yes.
true. No,
Well-
we already talked about that at the first TIF committee meeting.
We could change I think personally, we, the board, myself, administratively, we can make changes to this. Add, subtract, multiply, divide, up until we sign it, and then it's etched in stone.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if the town and Cape Cod Lumber can't come to terms before the 14 days before town meeting,
Take it off.
we can take it off and shoot for the spring,
That's fine.
you know?
That's correct.
Yeah.
I have two questions. The TIF committee reports back to us,
Correct.
and we take the vote, correct?
Correct. Just
And
support.
also to the Finance Committee, and the reason why it's Finance Committee, because by charter, the Finance Committee recommends all articles at town meeting, financial and non-financial. In this case, the TIF Committee is made up of a representative from the Finance Committee, Board of Selectmen, assessors, zoning, planning.
Assessors. Oh, you said assessors.
So there's a 5-member committee, and staff members include myself, Leo, Provost,
Jack.
and
Jack
Jack
Pistorino.
Pistorino.
So, but the point I'm trying to make is, the TIF committee could come back with their recommendation, which would be on the warrant, even if but then we might disagree with it. And the
That's true.
finance committee may disagree with it, or vice versa. So that would be a little confusing, because it states in here, authorize the board of selectmen to execute it, even if we vote no, it would still be in there, or?
No, we don't
No, we
execute it.
control the warrant. It's actually put on by,
They're only authorizing.
Right,
us
but
to
we're not gonna be
execute.
able to vote on this until after the warrant's gone out.
Right.
That's what we do.
But
Okay.
then you just pass over it at town meeting because
Or even if it's past the town,
We
I guess
can
to
get-
your point, even if it's past a town meeting, we still have the authority
Okay.
not to execute.
And my other question is, it says a 10-year period, but the TIF can go from 5 to 20 years. So
Correct.
did you guys already agree on a 10-year period? for
No.
no,
the TIF?
we have,
No.
this is just their
fluid. All right,
draft
I-
language.
Spread them
All right.
around.
It's going to change. The percentage will change,
Okay.
the term may increase or
To-
decrease, who knows?
There's no percentage in there.
There's a lot of things here.
Okay.
Everything here could change. No, I don't want to confuse anybody, but actually, you know, Jack Pistorino, the way he explained it, it's not actually a TIF, it's a special assessment.
It'll end up being a TIF because we're going to have to work out the inflation factors.
Oh, you are going to have to
Yeah.
work out the inflation factor, so it is a TIF.
Yeah, It will be a TIF.
All right. All right,
I would not support a special tax assessment. That's 100% on the upfront value of the property.
okay.
Well, let's not get into a TIF about this, let's vote.
All right, do we have a motion?
We already did.
We already did, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's almost unanimous.
Almost.
Mike Franny abstains. Okay, Article 19, to see if the town will vote to accept the provisions of Section 2 of Chapter 64L of the Mass General Laws and impose a local sales tax upon the sale of restaurant meals at the rate of 0.75% of gross receipts, or take any other action relative thereto, by petition.
Not that I agree with it, but I'll move we put it on the warrant because it's a petition article.
Yeah, it has to go.
Oh,
Yeah, yep.
It's gonna snow tomorrow.
Excellent.
No.
All right, second?
I don't agree with it.
Now, who-
It goes on automatically, but
does?
for semantics, I'll
Yeah,
send
sure.
it. Second it.
Ken?
I just want to make
Could it have
note
to go on
that
there?
that this,
Yeah,
this
that's
article
statute.
is significantly changed from last time. It includes the 0.75% of gross receipts to be part of the, so we're not, Mr. Buckley wanted me to make sure that everyone understood that there was not sneaking anything
It
by.
wants to be full disclosure here.
Full
Okay.
disclosure.
That's great.
Now, do we want to have the restaurant owners in, like we do every time?
Yes, I think we give them the opportunity to come in and state their case on whether or not they,
Okay.
Yeah, I think we should have a public hearing, have both sides in and
Yeah.
make their pitch, and then we can take our vote accordingly. I think if we invite, obviously the petitioners and send a letter to all licensed establishments and the South Shore Chamber indicating that we will hold a public hearing on the petitioned article at our next meeting, and we will hear both sides of the issue and make a decision accordingly.
Okay, you have a second?
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right,
What happened to Mike? Did he go home?
I fell asleep.
well, he eats in restaurants, couldn't go to...
Where did he go?
What?
Where did Mike go?
I don't know. Article 20, to see if the town will vote to appropriate a sum of money for the purpose of refurbishing the memorial arch at Island Grove, constructed in 1912 as part of the 300th, that's not right, must be 200th, right? 200th anniversary of the incorporation of the town of Abington.
Constructed as part of the 200.
And to meet this appropriation, the treasurer, with the approval of the Board of Selectmen, be authorized to borrow a sum of money under the provisions Mass General Law, Chapter 44, or other
We'll
enabling
make that
authority.
change.
And that the town manager be authorized to take any action to carry out this project, or take any other action thereto by Board of Selectmen.
Came in
The
at
board?
300.
I had drafted the article only in response to, I know we had, Mr. Riley was kind enough to have somebody come out and do an assessment of it. I think by virtue of the fact that this is our only shot at it, I just threw it in there just for discussion purposes to see what, if anything, we wanted to do. Originally, my thought process was to look at having the treasurer, through the town manager, give us a pro forma on what our debt would look like if you were to take the figure that was recommended, look at a 5, 10, 15-year bond, depending on what it would look like, and look at what the cost would be to borrow within the levy limit. But I'm open.
You can come up now, Mike.
Well, he swam at Island Grove, so.
Yeah, yeah.
He's related to somebody in Island.
He jumped off that bridge once. All right. All right.
So I guess the question is, it was more to get the discussion going. I know there was some questions as to whether we should do the arch and bridge all in one. I happen to think to try and put them both together is going to be very
It's going to be difficult.
difficult.
Yes.
I think going on something, which I was kind of alluding to when Ken had mentioned at another meeting about the town buying a birthday present for itself, and again, I think it's something to look at. What is our bonding capacity or capability? What would it look like on a pro forma, spread over a period of time? I realize that Andy was looking at, we were looking at some donations as well. Now, this is certainly not to suggest that we bond the full amount. I guess the question would become, would we take a portion of it? What other portion that you would reasonably expect to, be able to raise? But, so I guess if the treasurer, if you want to put it on the warrant, if the treasurer could give us a full cost of, I think we had 200,000, if I wasn't mistaken, more, was it?
It's close to.
No, it was 287,000.
All right, so 300,000, half that at 150, and bring it down and give us different increments and what that would go. Again, that's if you
Yeah.
want to put it on.
Okay.
Well, may I just make a comment? I think that if we do a debt exclusion that would be outside of the levy limit, you want to do it inside.
Inside.
This is a small amount. What we would normally do is treat it like we did the Groveland Street project. We would bond for the full amount. That's how we would do it. And if Tricentennial came up with, $50,000 at the end that they wanted to put towards the refurbishment, it would reduce that cost of the authorization to borrow by that additional 50,000. So you're looking at 250 versus 300, and when it's finally bonded, it would probably be a year after the project is fully constructed, so we had some time.
Can you get us a schedule?
Yeah.
So I'll move we put it on the warrant.
Just one thing, I also thought this was so that we could get the ball rolling and possibly apply for grants or
Well, those are items that we would have to pursue,
Right.
historic grants, and try to reduce that borrowing authorization.
right, I think that was the intent of actually starting to get some idea of what it would
Oh, I
cost.
see what you're doing. That's part of it. Yeah, I got you.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Franny. Any further discussion?
It's absent that day. I think that was-
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Article 20 is on. Article 21, to see if the town will vote to transfer $98,153 from the water undesignated fund balance to the Town of Rockland General Fund for Abington's portion of the pension cost assessed to the Town of Rockland by Plymouth County Retirement in fiscal year 2007. This represents the amount that the Town of Rockland paid for Abington's portion of the Water Department's retirement in fiscal year 2007. In accordance with an intergovernmental agreement, the Water Department will repay fiscal year 2006 through fiscal year 2010, 1 year at a time, as to reduce the impact to users or take any other action relative thereto.
Mr. Chairman, I think we should send Rockland a thank you note again this
Do we have to
year.
pay 12% statutory interest on that?
But we also have Attorney Timmons here from Quincy, who I believe represents the Abington-Rockland Joint Waterworks, who would like to address this issue.
You're on Article 22, not 21. Sorry.
Well, it says Article 21 here. I mean, I
Because
received
you changed it.
false information from the moderator. I want you to zoom in on this, it does say 21.
I didn't get the updated copy.
Oh, okay.
Copy of the warrant, sorry.
Okay, I'll move we include Article 21 on the warrant.
Okay, second?
Second.
Second,
That's
okay.
that's year 2 of 5 years, is that the way it is? Well, we approved,
No, we've approved
we
two.
approved it.
We approved one at
Well,
the,
one of them we put on hold. We didn't have the money in the, at the fall. So we're behind a little bit. We're catching up. We tried to do one at the annual and one at the spring.
which I think we
At the
did.
fall.
We did, yeah.
We did one at the annual
thought it
and
was
one at
two.
the spring special town meeting. That was my recollection.
You mean to tell me the town of Rockland didn't assess for how many years?
5.
You're kidding me.
2/6.
For 5 years?
That's why I want to send him a thank you note.
Weren't you the town manager then?
No, I was out 10 years. Place went to hell after I left apparently.
No, Alan's doing a very nice job. He's been
No,
very
this is
generous.
between him, this had nothing to do
Can
with
you
it.
just check those that year, because I'm not sure if the
We-
2007 is, it was
I
2000.
think we did one retroactive and one current
Yeah,
already.
that's how we're doing it. One
And now we're
retroactive,
doing one
current.
again this. so
Another
we-
retroactive.
This is a retroactive, and then
Okay,
we'll do a
And this-
current.
Oh.
Okay.
I just don't want to overpay them.
Oh, God.
No.
But then we'll get the thank you note.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
We have a motion? Second?
Already did.
Okay, any further discussion?
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Article 21's all set. All right, last one, Article 22, to see if the town will vote to rescind a vote of a prior meeting relative to Article 16, voted favorably on October 18th, 2010, which article authorized the transfer of land at 295 Lincoln Street in Abington, Massachusetts, which parcel is shown as lot number 101 on Assessors Map number 51, which parcel had previously been under the care and custody and control of the Abington-Rockland Joint Board of Water Commissioners. The purpose of this rescission is to return the lot in question, currently used by the Commission for water storage purposes, to the full control of the Board of Selectmen. They are no longer existing a valid public purpose for the Joint Board of Waterworks to cede control over the parcel or take any other action relative thereto.
That's all one sentence, that's amazing.
Full control water commission.
Anywho,
I would like to introduce again Mr. Attorney Timmons, who will probably give us a rational reason as to why the commission is making this very generous decision.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. There's a couple of corrections I'd like to indicate first. One's a minor one. The moderator suggested that in the first line we should say vote of a prior town meeting, just so it's clear that the vote we're talking about is a town meeting vote. That's in the first line. And then I'm responsible for an error in relative to whom we're returning control, because in the proposal that I had submitted, I said return control to the board, meaning the Board of Commissioners of the Joint Waterworks. Because I had used the word commission, I think it was construed that commission was the waterworks and board was you folks. So what we're seeking to do is return control to the Board of Water Commissioners, the joint board. And the reason for this is simply that the vote a year ago was, the genesis of it was a project that ended up not happening. So the commissioners were both somewhat terrified when they learned of the scope of the Telecommunications Act and what can happen when you get into this permitting process, and then concerned that they had somewhat lost control of the site, because when they originally voted for it, they were looking for a tower, for a antenna that was going to go on their existing water tower, and the project ended up becoming a separate antenna. I understand the reason for that, as do the commissioners. It's just the way the whole thing worked. But the experience was that when they get into this situation, it's somewhat morphed out of, I won't say control, but it was not within what they thought it would be at the time they voted it. So they want to keep control over the lot, and they feel that by just simply voiding the vote, that's the best way to do it. There are some other issues here that I've talked about with the moderator. We're checking the title as well, and I know the board will be sharing that information with the town, because there may be some questions about the full control and everything legally.
I think the town purchased the land. The research that we did is that the town of Abington purchased the land for standpipes. That was the research. Yeah, well, no, it was specifically for the standpipes. That's what the language says in the article. So, well, first of all, I want to clear up one thing. When this whole issue occurred with the water commissioners, we wanted to put the antennas on the tank. When the scope of the antennas became burdensome, in the sense that it was greater than 10 feet, and we couldn't do a width antenna, then we went to option B, which was the tower.
Separate support structure, tower, right?
Yeah, and the issue was that, at least from one member, that they didn't understand that they owned the whole lot, that they thought they just owned that piece, and that the antenna was going to go there, but in fact, it was going to go on the 5.5 acre parcel. And so what you're asking us to do is to give that control back to the joint waterworks. The question that I have is, are there parcels in the town of Rockland that Rockland purchased on behalf of the joint waterworks where that portion, that whole parcel is going back to the control of the joint waterworks, even though the joint waterworks doesn't own it? The town of Abington owns that parcel. We purchased it.
Well, I don't know the answer to that one. I'm not sure about the control over the lots in that respect. And I understand, the underlying concerns in your question. And so what we were trying to do here, or what the board would like to do, is just go back to the status quo of a year ago relative to where things stood. And they've asked me to look into it, because I did have a couple of questions when they asked me to review the matter about the title and where the official, control factor came. And so I think it would be helpful to go back to the status quo and then have the board, after I submit the report to them, share that with the town.
I think if I could liken it to a similar situation in the town. The town of Abington owns all of the school buildings in town. But for the purpose of control and custody, it rests with the school department. I think the same issue is true here. So I think they have that inherent in the deed. I don't know what you would need to go back to.
Well, the difference, your analogy is a good one, but there's a particular statute that vests control over school grounds in the school committee. There's no such statute relative to control of a site like this. This is, this issue of control is one that it seems to be a little bit of a jump ball that was muddied by the vote last year. And the vote was for a specific purpose. That project didn't happen. So all we're trying to do is just, get it back to where it was before. And then review the title issue and then the control issues as far as what the waterworks needs to control.
Yeah, I don't know if I think if you talk with Pat Cantor at Copeland and Page, because we're paying,
Yes.
either the town or the ratepayers are paying this bill, I think we could resolve that issue fairly quickly, because we did all the title research on it when we put the article on at town meeting, and my recollection and understanding was that we needed the board's vote because they had control and custody. They didn't own the parcel. They had control and custody, which is deeded to them in the deed dating back to 1921.
Yeah, the only problem is, at least the paperwork that I reviewed, which is what was before town meeting, the title reference was not correct. So I just had some questions. I wasn't able to tell the joint waterworks where they stood as far as control. And so I think there are some things that need to be clarified, but beyond that,
Did you look at the...
Just would be, excuse me?
I'm sorry, did you look at the motion? Because the motion corrected that title,
Yes, yeah.
that lot and parcel number.
Yeah, I looked at both of them. That's why I put the assessor's reference here.
Yeah,
Just to
good.
make sure that we were at least talking about the right lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm happy to, I don't want to, I know that, the legal bills, although I hate to say that as a lawyer, but I know that they can be something that can be an interesting issue. So I waited until I get authority from the joint waterworks, and I was going to do that autonomously and not, bother your town council and get bills going yet. I just think we'll do a report and we'll provide it. That's fine. That's kind of a separate issue that the commission will be doing going forward.
We'll send it to our council, if that's going to happen. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
we'll
not
give
gonna
it to
work
the
with our
town and let
council.
you guys do with it what you wish, right. This is a friendly attempt, not any attempt. Like, the control issue, the commissioners and the joint waterworks aren't worried about the control. They're now confused by it. And they're a little concerned in light of what happened last year, about where things exactly stand at the site. So we want to go back to where we were a year ago, and then just, and then move forward from there.
Do we know where we were a year ago? Honestly, based upon, I'm not sure we do. Without town council, I think, Attorney Timmons, you and town council need to sit down and try to...
I'm happy to do
I'm not comfortable
that.
putting this on the warrant at this point until that's done. That's my feeling. But
Well, the way I drafted it was a focus simply on the vote and just asking to
yeah, I
rescind that
understand,
vote?
but
Okay.
because I'm not clear where we stood even then. Because there was some dispute as to whether or not we owned it, didn't own it, who had control of it. So I'd rather get you guys together and on the same page, and then if we need to do this, that's fine. I don't have a problem doing that. But
Okay, as a result of the vote, it's fairly explicit, notwithstanding, like, let's say the town has whatever authority they have, then that's a matter of title. If the joint waterworks had certain authority a year ago, as a result of that vote in October, they've turned it all, they've turned it over to the Board of Selectmen,
only for that
essentially.
particular purpose, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, for the telecommunications purpose. Yeah.
Well, they're afraid that we're gonna put another telecommunications tower up there on that land.
I tell you what, for the purposes of at least further discussion, I'll move that we put it on the warrant, and then they can get together, and if we have to, we can deal with it at town meeting.
A second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous?
You didn't ask how
You didn't ask.
Oh, any opposed? Okay. All right, that's actually 2 opposed.
So, 3 to 2, it goes on the warrant.
Yeah, it goes in the warrant.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right, now, I'm sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
Can I just make a suggestion on the capital plan, rather than go through each one item, since we already have this on the warrant, would this be better to when we go next meeting to go through it, and then we can make our recommendation of, vote our recommendations?
You act like you're not having fun.
I'm not.
We did touch on it.
Okay.
John, town manager report?
It's only about 45 minutes long.
That's it?
I'll get to it.
You got some minutes banked from last meeting.
It's 9:30, I have nothing to talk about other than what I've already said.
Excellent. All right, selectmen, old and new business.
All right, John.
Andy?
I'm going to go back to the 3 things I've asked for the last couple of meetings, as far as the personnel hires, building inspector, the IT person, and the building inspector clerk. Can you give us an update on those 3 positions?
I can give you an update on the administrative clerk is hired and is working. We have more of an issue with the building inspector. We've gone through the applications. We interviewed 3 candidates. We have made a tentative decision based on reference checks, and we have not moved further to make that hire permanent at this point. I will remind everybody that neither this board nor did the town manager, when we appointed the person who is now there, Mr. Marshall Adams, that I did not sign an appointment letter, nor has the board voted on his appointment, because I never considered it a permanent appointment. However, I understand that based on the fact that there was no appointment letter, that the town clerk somehow swore in the building inspector. So, having said that, I think that, we're going to have to clear that issue up. As far as the IT person, we went through interviews in the IT area. That has been less troublesome to me and to staff. But we have offered the position to an individual candidate. We're waiting for his acceptance. That has not occurred yet. We do have another candidate that we will interview again, if necessary, to get to a final resolution on the IT person. But I must say that I was not very pleased with how certain people have injected themselves in the hiring process for the building inspector's position. It's a difficult process to begin with, and unfortunately, residents have injected themselves in the hiring process for the building inspector, which I think is wrong. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Just one other question. We passed an article for that community redevelopment block grants, hiring.
We are in
Where
the
does that
process
sit?
of finalizing an RFP, request for proposals, to hire somebody to do the grant writing on that, which is due in December.
Thank you.
Anything else under selectmen, old and new business? Kenny?
I just have one thing. I think we all received in our packet a letter from Seaboard Solar. I don't know if I received a
Oh,
letter.
did you see my press release?
Yeah, exactly. Mine was Kevin Boyle. But that information could maybe be passed on. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Oh, I don't know, in our packets, there was
In
You
your
got
mail?
one?
I got one, I read it.
It was
In your
oh,
packets
okay.
for the meeting?
You don't read your packet, I guess.
I do.
Or in our mail slot. I don't think I delivered to my house, did it? No.
No, it was in our folder.
Just asking the town to look into solar energy and
It was
that
a
sort of
company, it was an
stuff.
advertisement,
Exactly,
basically.
well,
That's all it
exactly,
was.
but, and we've also, I received an email from another company, and, there was talk about windmills at different places in town. Maybe that sort of stuff can be sent to our SAGE committee to look into. I mean, they're the ones that are supposed to be looking at ways to save energy, so maybe they could be, and they could come up with recommendations to us, or the Griffin's Dairy also, maybe, just an idea.
That's a good point. I will tell you that we have been dealing with a couple of, solar companies. We are looking right now at a preliminary proposal. There's $975,000 in capital expenditures requested by the schools for new roofing systems for school buildings. There may be a possibility where we can get the roofs included free with a PPA, purchase power agreement, that will reduce the energy costs for the schools and put solar on the rooftops. So we are looking at those options, but yes, it would be something that we would want to run by SAGE and get them involved in it as well.
Well, I know there's been a lot of discussion that maybe they're going down the wrong track, on, maybe they're not doing what their main purpose was, so maybe we can get them back on track by offering them some input in these ideas. That's just, because their main goal was to saving Abington through green energy, so, I mean, it was save money on electric bills, I thought, was their main focus, so obviously Dory knows better.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Anything else? Any public comment? Chief? Okay. All right. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Okay. Second? All right. But, I just want to thank our cameraman, Chris Prowl. He does a bang-up job. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you.
Excellent. Do we,
Shut the speakers off.
yeah, do we have something to sign?
Yeah.
It's in the room
There's a
here.
bunch
They were nice rugs.
My wife's gonna kill you.
They were very nice rugs.
Wow.
Velvet painting.
No, it wasn't a velvet.
However, the town should consider a bylaw change regarding hawkers and peddlers. And we do have some regulations along that line